Hello everyone, welcome back to another video. Got another tier list video ready. This is slightly different again, like my Premier League video. Instead of it is a train video as you can see, but rather than it being real life trains, I've decided to do train sim world review sort of. So I've gone every single British train that is in Train Sim 5. This is excluding underground, as I'm not too familiar with like actually what's in the underground and like routes like the Isle of Wight and that. So I've got all of them here. I've pretty much driven the majority of them, so I'm doing it kind of based off like the driving, not just that, but like the routes they're on and like the flexibility. I don't think I've missed any, so I really apologise if I haven't actually got Train Sim 5 yet, but I am just judging it based off of like what they're like to drive and like what they're like on Train Sim 4 and 3 and some of them on 2020. Also, you can see a couple pictures like the 170, the 390. They are actually in real life. I couldn't find a good picture for them off the internet, so I'm just using this. So without further ado, let's begin with the Class 08, the shunter. I don't think the shunters, like the shunt for if you like actually quite like a cam shunting route, they're actually very good. But I'm not the biggest fan of them because I don't really like the shunting routes. I think the 08's on Carlisle, which has just come out, like the Preston to Carlisle route, so that's good for them. But I will judge them like, from a driving point of view, they're quite boring, but from like a route point of view, they're very good. So I put them D tier just because the route thing gets them up a bit. And then we'll move on to the 08's counterpart of the 09, but I'm going to put that just slightly under an E tier because it's in less routes. I think it's only on Somerset, so that's going to go in E tier. Moving on to the Class 20, I have got the 20 and I have drove it and I really like it. It's like very detailed. The livery is obviously is the only livery it's in, but it's nice to run the double headers from the old days with trains like the 31 and the 37. The quarry runs are quite cool, like getting to load the trains up and that, so I'm going to put the 20 in B tier. The only thing I haven't complained about is sometimes the brakes aren't great because trains like that, like the 40, the 37 and that, they do take a while for the brakes to actually fire up. But no, it's a good B tier locomotive, so I'll put it there. Then we'll come to the 31. They're pretty much the same as the 20. They run like double headers on the Tees Valley, and they can run like routes like the Blackpool branches, same as the 20, and like with the Intercity Mark 2s. I think it's Mark 2s or Mark 1s, can't one of the two, I think it's Mark 2s. But I quite like the 31s, that the route they have with like the cement wagons is pretty good. The thrashing's good. The complaint I'm going to put them down a bit is the fact that the brakes are really bad, like they take ages, like a bit like the 20, but the 20s are slightly better. So that's going to get them down a bit, but I don't think they'll be too far. I think I'll put them C tier because they're quite good actually for like different routes, and they're good for freight runs. Moving on to the Class 33, one of the rare BR Green trains. The 33s aren't too bad. I've not drove it. I don't have the 33. I've got Somerset, but I don't have the 33 or the 52. The 33s are okay. Nothing too special. I like from the detail point of view, they're pretty good, and from the route point of view, I don't know if they're on many tours or anything on other routes, but I quite like them, so I'll put them in C tier. Sorry, C tier with the 31. Then we'll come to 37. I've just used this livery because it's the first one I found. They also are on other livery routes like ROG. There's there's not BR Blue. I don't think there's a BR Blue or BR Green. I think it's just ROG and that one. I can't remember what that one's called. I quite like the 37. It's a really good train, and it's a fantastic. It's got freight routes. It obviously does drags, and it does some rail tours as well. So I'm very fond of it, and I'm gonna put it in A tier because it's got a variety of routes. It runs in the old days, the modern day, and it's got like tours and that. So it's a perfect loco. I think there's actually also that one, the West Cornwall local. That one's okay, but not great. I think I had a bug on it where it was like randomly I wouldn't even have moved yet and it would just turn off. Now come to the 40. I do not have the 40, but I have the route it's on. I don't mind the 40. I actually quite like it. I'm going to put it in B tier. The sounds are really good. I think the horn's okay. I and the detail's good, and you got a lot of good routes for it. So 40 will go B tier. Then we'll go into the class 43. There's two. I've just used the GWR one, but I actually don't have that. I have drove it though on Train Sim 2020. I have the West Midlands Railway, not East Midlands Railway. Sorry, East Midlands Railway 43, and they're both quite good. I wasn't very experienced when I was playing with the 43 on GWR, but I quite like it. I like the one, like the way that the one screams away and one like has the normal thrashing away. So the good variety of routes, detail's great, the horn's great, and like the interior is perfect. So I'm going to put that in A tier with the 37. Now we'll come to the class 45. I have got the 45. I'm not the biggest fan of the 45. I'm kind of mixed. Like, I like the actual like sound, the engine's great and the cab's great. But the horn, I think it's obviously accurate, but the horn does drive me quite crazy. It does get on my nerves when like you beep it, and it doesn't sound like very good. So I am going to put that in D tier just because of the horn. The horn, it just gets on my nerve. I think it's the high pitched horn that is the one that annoys me. Now we're on the class 47. Quite a few liveries. I think it's Intercity. There's like the BR blue. There's the BR green as I've used here, and I'm going to put the 47 in B tier. The 47 on BR green is so good. Like, I love the engine sounds, the way it screams away. The horn is perfect and it's good. It's just a shame it's on such like a route where you can only go 30 miles an hour, so you can't like put it to 10 max and just thrash it. And the only route I think it's on that actually like isn't the Somerset is one route on the East Coast Main Line, which is pretty basic. But no, 47 goes B tier because it's quite a good train. Now we're on to the class 52, the Western. I don't have the 52, but I like the actual like overall design. Like, I think there's also a BR blue one as well as maroon, whatever this is. So I'm going to put the 52 in C tier. You can let me know if that's controversial or not, or if that's like the 52 is not good to drive. I don't think it's that bad as a train. Like, to look at, it's quite good. The detail's good, and the cab looks pretty good as well. I think it's on a couple rail tours. You can get like obviously also the one on like the diesels of the Great Western. That's a good pass. So yeah, 52 will go C tier for me. I'll probably put it ahead of them, but the 33 will go ahead of the 31. Yep, perfect. Moving on, we have the class 66. I don't know about the 66. Like, I think everyone is getting a bit fed up of it now. They want like a new trade like freight loco added into Train Sim. Like, now they've got the West Coast Main Line, it'd be quite good to see something like a 70, a 68 added on, because there's so many freight trains added. Maybe even a 90 if we want to go for a like electric route. Obviously they got the 87, but I actually do like the 66 though for a variety of routes. Like, the train itself is quite easy to drive. There's a lot of rail tours. There's a lot of different services like the RHTT. I love driving the RHTT. Then you've got like the different freight routes on like the Southeastern High Speed, Scottish services like the one livery, the DRS livery. I'm a fan of the DRS livery. I know I said before in other videos that I don't like it because it's too common, but having it in Train Sim 5 is quite cool. So the 66 will go A tier because it's a good local. I'll probably put it ahead of the 43 because it's better. Now we'll come on to probably I think it's the most recently added train, the class 87. Of course I don't have it because it's on Train Sim 5 only, but I do really like it. I am going to put it in A tier because the Intercity livery is probably my favourite I've seen. I really like the 87s and the 86s. They're really cool. And it looks really detailed, and like having the Carlisle in Preston, I've been to both. It's really nice, and having an electric express train, which can obviously hopefully do some freight routes, is great. Hopefully they go down a route, maybe adding an 86, and they could even be a bit weird and add an 86 on Freightliner or Colas Rail. That would be quite interesting. Moving on to the class 101. I do detest the 101 because it's just so impossible to drive. The gears annoy me. It's not great. It's a bit boring. But no, the 101 I'm not going to put high. I'm going to put it in F tier. It's on quite a few routes, but that doesn't matter because it's a stupid train to drive. If anyone likes it, that's fine by me, but I'm not a fan of it, so I'm not going to rank it highly. Moving on, we've got the class 142. There's 3 liveries for this. There's a brown and cream, there's this blue one, and there's a orange one. I quite like the 142 in this game. It's a good train to drive. It's got really good brakes, and the detail's great. Like the fact that it actually bobs up and down, like the actual real life thing, is so detailed. And whoever's made it has actually just got it down to the finite point. So I am going to put the 142 in B tier, ahead of all three of those. I'm going to put the 40 and the 47 ahead of 20. Yep. Moving on to the class 150. I don't like the 150. No, actually, as a train, it's a good train. Like the regional railways is okay. I'm not a fan of the regional railways, but I'm a fan of the 150. The reason it gets so low down is because of the routes. Like the Cornwall, West Cornwall local is not a good route. I bought it a while ago, and I thought it'd be okay. But you get one 12-minute journey from St Erth to St Ives, and then you get a really long hour-long journey from St Austell, I think it is, to Penzance. But it's such a slow train. It's only 75 miles an hour. Obviously, but it does become a bit boring, especially how spaced out the stations actually are. So I'm gonna put it in E tier. I'm ahead of the 09. But no, the 150. If it was on like a northern route, something that would be good, like a good stopping service. But nah, E tier it is. 158, what do you expect? One S tier again. I have not got the ScotRail one, I'm disgraced to say, but I have got the EMR one, and I really like the 158. Obviously, with multiple units like that, when they are actually branded like in these companies like ScotRail and EMR, they have to operate in that specific area. But the 158, it seems like it's a very good train to drive. The horn and everything are good. The only thing I do have one complaint about is the thrashing, because I don't feel like the thrashing is aggressive enough. That's a small thing to say, but it does feel like it pulls away quite gently rather than actually like properly full throttling it away, because that's what makes a 158 so cool. Just the proper thrash and clag and horn and everything, it gets you excited. But no, the routes are great. The it's perfect, and it goes along with like the 170 and the 43 on EMR. Moving on to the class 166 for GWR. I have drove this, and I actually am a big fan of it. I know it's only on one route, so that'll get it down slightly, but I really like the 166 to drive. It's a great train, it's a good detailed train, and I like the 166 in general. I know it's only on the Great Western Main Line, but there's nothing wrong. Like they don't operate in anything else apart from Chiltern, and I don't know if they'll add the Chiltern one in. But for that, we'll put it C tier because it's pretty good. I'll put it ahead of not the 52. Now come to the class 170. I have had to use the BTP picture because I do not have a picture of the real one. The train sim one, I couldn't find it, and I've drove the 5 Circle and I've drove the 170. I have had problems on my Xbox because the 170 on it, like the 5 Circle, just wouldn't run. But I don't mind the 170 like to drive. I know the 170 itself isn't great. Like I've said in the past, it's not good, but it's okay to me in train sim. And I do like the route it's on, like the flipping brilliant route with like Burnt Island. I've been to Burnt Island countless times, and they've detailed it really well. One thing I will recommend they do is in the summer maybe like add the fair in, because I think there's like a fair every summer in Burnt Island. That would be pretty cool. That make detail get up. But going back to the 170 in train sim, it's quite good. I'm glad that they have it like running alongside the 158, especially now that the 5 Circle one's coming. They could even add the BTP one in train sim. So for that reason, I'll put it in B tier. Sorry about that little pop-up, by the way. Now, coming on to the Southern Class 313. Obviously, it's a retired local now, but I really like the 313 in train sim. I know it is, again, only on one route, and it's the Brighton mainline thing, like with the 377. But the 313 is really good to drive. The sounds are really good. The way... I love the old electric trains, and I do like the 313, and I don't have anything to fault it with. I mean, obviously it's not on many routes, but there's nothing else to really add it on, so I'm going to put the 313 controversially potentially in S tier because it's a good train. And I think I'm going to do the same with no, I'm not going to do the same with the 314. I'll drop it there for a second. The 314 is a pretty good train. I do like the ScotRail version, like the ScotRail one. I know they've obviously gone as well, but the Glasgow line is quite good as well. Short half-an-hour services, actually, I am going to put it in S tier. The 314 is a great loco to drive. Again, Glasgow Central, now that they've got the 380 in, is pretty good too. So the route itself is pretty perfect. And I mean, you get one tour extra on the 314 because there's nothing else to add it really. So yeah, 314 will go S tier. Excuse me. Now the West Midlands class 323, not the West Midlands specifically, I've just put that picture in, but I've not got this one, but I have got the northern one, and I think the 323 is quite a good train to drive. The sounds are quite good, the cab's quite good, and I do like it. The route's quite good, right to Manchester Piccadilly. You got Birmingham New Street, so I'm going to put the 323 in B tier. Yeah, it's a great train. The route, I'd like to get the Birmingham Cross City at some point, and I have got the northern one with the Manchester Glossop line, that's what it's called, from Manchester Piccadilly to what's it called? Can't remember what it's called, but yeah, it's a good route, and I'll keep it, and I do like it, and I don't mind running it a couple of times. So yeah, 323 will go B tier. Now come to the class 350. I have drove it once, but unfortunately my game crashed. But the 350 is going to go in A tier, just out of S tier. I'll put it all the way up the top though, because I do think the 350 is a fantastic train. It's not obviously that one specifically. I think it's the Dash 2 or whichever one that one isn't. I like the 350 in Trading Sim 5. The detail's really good, and it's on a great route. And it's got you got loads of stopping services to from London to Milton Keynes. It's a really good route. There's nothing wrong with the route. The train, the only thing I don't think they licensed it. I think they couldn't get the London North Western license. But it's perfect. It's fine. It still works. The livery's great, and the horn's great. The detail's great. It's perfect. So I'm gonna put the 350 in A tier, and the train stations themselves have some great details. I think even the little robots that operate for Tesco, those are really cool. So yeah, 350 A tier. Now onto the class 375 from the Southern High Speed, and I don't mind the 375. They're quite good to drive. The horn is pretty good, and the detail's quite good. It's just the route's a bit boring sometimes when you're running back from Faversham, Rochester. It's just a bit boring. So I'm going to put the 375 slightly down in D tier. I'm not saying it's a good train to drive and it's quite easy to drive, but just the route gets it down quite a bit. Now we'll come on to the 377. This is the one I think from there's three routes it operates on. You got the 377 I think Dash 4, which is obviously for the London Victoria line. London, I can't remember what it's called. London, you know what I mean, the rush hour one. And then you've got the Brighton main line, and you've got the West Coast main line. Obviously, they've got the 377-2 for that, which is a nice touch, a nice change. And I do like the 377. I think it's my highest level train on the game. I'm pretty sure I'm level 18 on it. I know that doesn't sound high. I've not played it much. Especially because I'm waiting for Train Sim 5. But no, I do like the 377, so I'm going to put it up in C tier there. Yeah. Perfect. And then we come to the class 380. Also, just before I go on to 380, actually, I don't know if anyone else has seen, but they're actually leaked at the Train Sim 5. The next train, I think, or one of the trains that'll be added is the 378. That'll be quite cool. I think on a little route to Willesden Junction. I can't remember where it said from, but that'll be great. I hope to get that at some point. Anyway, moving on to the 380, you got the 3 car and the 4 car, and it operates on the Glasgow Central line. It's a great train to have a bit more modernness alongside the 314, and I feel like one thing they should also do is add the North Berwick line. That'd be a great detail, because then they can add the 380 in and put a bit more traffic in Edinburgh. So I'm going to put the 380 just for now in D tier, D tier actually, because it's a great train, and I do like the 380, but it's one route, and if they could add one more, it would make it a bit better, maybe C or B tier. Moving on to the class 385. I know I've said before I hate 385, and in Train Sim 5 it's quite cool, but one big complaint I have is I have a glitch where every time I press the horn down once, it'll just stick on and won't come off until I sort something out. So it does get annoying, but there's nothing else really wrong with it, so I'll put it C tier just because it's not too bad, and I like having Edinburgh and Glasgow and Train Sim. Moving on to the class 387 for Gatwick Express. The GWR one, I don't. If they, I've seen lots of people like use GWR routes, and I think if they actually added it in, it would be fantastic. But for now, because they haven't added it, the trains itself is quite similar to like the 377. But it's quite cool to see it rush by, and obviously go down to like Brighton. You can't operate it in Brighton, I don't think, but it's still pretty decent. So for that reason, I'm going to put it in D tier. Now come to the 390. I don't have a picture for this one again, but the 390 is a really good train. I think it's on like a deluxe edition, which I probably will be getting because I really like the 390. And one thing I know is actually the cab's kind of squint, like the seat itself is positioned away from the window, so that's something that's quite cool. But the 390 is decent. I can't fault it. I think it's quite cool. It would be cool though to see some AI ones rushing through Milton Keynes Central. I don't know if they have that, but I'm gonna put the 390 in A tier because I'm quite happy with it. I'm glad it's in Train Sim 5 because it's an icon of the West Coast and it deserves to be in. One thing that would be really cool is if they had the Pride one, and that would be fantastic. Or the, I can't remember what it's called, the environmental friendly one or something. Moving on to the Class 395, I think this is the fastest train operating in the UK if you exclude the Eurostar. I do like the 395, but I don't think I like the route itself because you have to operate all these long routes to like St Pancras, and I think I've had glitches with it before, but it's okay. I think a lot of people, one thing that gets it up a bit is the fact that people used it as like a train for like when the Azumas and the 805s and stuff weren't in it. Obviously the 805s aren't actually in it, but like they use it as the Azuma and 805 for like with Avanti, cross country. You've got all these other things, and even like fantasy ones like when the 802s and the 801s weren't in the game, they had like the Airlink and Stepford Express from the Stepford County Railway Roblox game. But I do like the 395, just the route gets it down to D tier. Moving on to the Class 465, and the route again, it's going to get it down slightly because it's just boring. It's a nice train and the noises are fantastic and the horn is quite good, but it's just a basic route. I think if they added the 466, that would be quite good, like 2-car ones, because then it would give it a bit more variety. But the 465 for now, the 465/9, I'll be more specific, will go D tier for me as well. Just the route, and then you can see obviously the Southeastern High Speed is getting it down. I think like the 465 don't operate on many other routes, but if they had like more retro routes from these trains, like the 465, that would be quite decent. Moving on to the Class 700, another train that's on the Southeastern High Speed. I'm not actually sure if I'm like the 700. The train itself is fantastic. Like it's a good cab. I have drove it. It's okay. It's just the route is 40 minutes long, and you can't really get on any other routes. Like if you use mods, you can get it on like the London Victoria rush hour one. That one's quite good. But just because it's not on many other routes, I'm going to put it in D tier. I know D tier is now actually like gone on to a second tier, but that's the first time I've done that. But 700 D tier. Now we've got the Class 710 for London Overground on the Gospel Oak route, or the Goblin line, or whatever you call it. No, Gospel Oak's the name of the station. The Goblin line, or the Suffragette line, one of the two, whatever you call it. You can go to like, I don't know the route familiar. I know Gospel Oak's a station. I think Barking something's one of the stations. I think it's quite a good route, and I think also the fact they've layered it into West Coast Main Line at London Euston is really good. And I do like London Overground trains, and considering they're going to add the 378 in soon, hopefully that will be fantastic. So that reason, the 710 will go in A tier, just outside of S tier as well. No, I'm not gonna push it any further up. I'll put it there, and the 390 also jumps there. That thing. Yep. Okay, now we're going to end, sadly, with the Class 801. The 801, it's okay. The route obviously is on the East Coast Main Line from like Doncaster to Peterborough. You got like Grantham and that. And I do quite like the train itself. It's good to drive. It's just a bit of a like long route, obviously, but if you like that, then that's what you're into. That's good. and it's also been layered into Fife Circle at Edinburgh Waverley. But I have a big complaint about that, and that's the unrealistic speed limit, because for some reason they crawl out of Edinburgh. I understand, like, yes, Edinburgh, there's a speed limit because it's a terminus station, but they're literally inching out at a snail's pace. Like, go the speed limit. You got, like, a good speed limit. Why are you crawling out? I don't know whether AI is set to do that. So the 801 and 802 will go in C tier for me, not ahead of anything in it, I think. Yeah. And that is the completed tier list. A bit top heavy. There's nothing on F tier apart from the 101, but I think I'm going to drop the 09 down because I don't think the 09 is as great as the 150 or anything else. And yeah, so nothing wrong with my tier list, I don't think. I think I'm happy with that. I love the trains. I love Train Sim as the franchise, brilliant. And I'm looking forward to more routes. Like, I think I've seen leaks about the Welsh route. I think you might have seen my predictions. I'll talk about it quickly just now. I don't know how, like, what trains run on that Welsh route. If they're going for a more modern route, like, way, they'll go down like the 197 route. But if they want to, they could. The one thing that would be clever is if they did like the class 153, because they could then layer that into ScotRail and have their Highland line. That would be really nice. Or they could do GWR. I think that's possible as well. I don't know if the GWR 153 is operated for anything like in the London Paddington. The other thing they could do is even layer the 153 into the Network Rail test trains. That would be insane. Like, having the blue dog box running around would be fantastic. Or they'll probably, the other thing is they could use a train that's actually in the game, like the 158, or even give justice to the 150 and add it into a good route and use that for transport for Wales. But yeah, and then you got the 378 route. I'm very excited about that. It's a small route, but it just adds more detail, so it's like clever. So yep, that's my completed tier list. Hopefully I'll get Train Sim 5 for Christmas. That would be fantastic. But let me know if there's any changes you'd make, any controversies, anything I've got wrong, any trains I've missed. I know I said obviously at the start I'm not using Underground because I don't know what Underground trains are in it, and I didn't use Isle of Wight trains. But I know the Isle of Wight is the 484, but I didn't really want to use it because I don't know the route well at all. So yep, thank you very much for watching another tier list video. I think I'll be posting this maybe Tuesday or Wednesday, so whenever, if it's today. Hope you've enjoyed the video. Please click the like button, subscribe, comment, just support the channel. We're almost at 900. Let's try and get to 900 subscribers. It's only 20 away before the end of the year. And thank you very much again for watching another video. I do apologise for that pop-up, by the way. But yeah, cheers.